Hey there everyone, Ramesh here. Today I am going to start a brand new series on Java Collections Framework. Well, so before deep dive into the Collections Framework, let's first understand what is need of Collections Framework. Okay, so whenever you plan to learn any framework or any technology, first you should need to understand what is need or what is the purpose of that particular framework or technology. Okay, similarly we are going to explore Java Collections Framework in this series. So let's first understand what is the need or purpose of Collections Framework and what problem the Java Collections Framework solves. Alright, great. So I always prefer explaining concepts with an example. So let me switch to the Eclipse IDE and let me create a new Java project, and let me create an example to demonstrate why we need a collections framework. Alright guys, let's switch to the Eclipse IDE. I am in Eclipse IDE and I am going to create a new Java project. Go to the file, new, and then choose Java project, and let's give name to the project like Java Collections Framework, something like this, and hit finish button. Well, we have created a simple Java project. Within a Java project, let's go ahead and let's create a package. Let's call it as com.java.collections. Okay, right click on the package, new, and then choose class, and let's give a name to the class like need of collection, something like this, and choose public static void main method and hit finish button. Alright, now let's create a integer variable int a equals to 10. So this is how we store an integer number in an integer variable in Java. Okay, so let's say I want to store one more integer number 20. Then what I need to do is I need to create an integer variable int b equals to 20. Alright, so let's say I want to store one more integer variable, that is 30. Then what I need to do is I need to create an integer variable int c equals to 30. Okay, so let's say I want to store 10 integer numbers, then I need to create a 10 integer variables. Okay, something like this. Alright, and I need to give a name to each integer variable like d, e, f, g, h, something like this. Alright, so this is how we store integer numbers in individual integer variables. So let's say I want to store 10,000 integer numbers in integer variables. Alright, so then what I need to do is I need to create 10,000 integer variables. Alright, so this is a worst programming technique. So having 10,000 integer variables in a Java program, it's kind of worst programming technique. I would say it's not a good programming practice. Alright, and yeah, so overcome to this problem, we have a concept in Java called arrays. Okay, array is a data structure which can hold homogeneous data elements. It means we can store a similar type of data elements. Okay, for example, let's say in our example I can create a array of integers, something like this, equals to new int, and I can define a size of an array of integers like 10,000. Okay, alright, So the main advantage of array is that we can store multiple values with a single variable. So instead of creating a separate variable to represent an value like this, so we can use array to store multiple values with a single variable like this. So now we have created and declared an array with size 10,000. So we can store a 10,000 integer values in this single variable. Okay, so this is the main advantage of array. Array is index collection which holds homogeneous data elements, and arrays are fixed in size. So once we create an array, there is no chance to increasing or decreasing the size of an array as per our requirement. Well, if I create an array with size 10,000 something like this, then let's say I want to store a 20,000 elements in an array. It's not possible to change the size of an array later. So whenever we create an array with some size, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size of an array as per our requirement. Alright, so this is the main disadvantage of an array, or we can say it's the main limitation of an array. Well, let me write the comments over here. Limitations of an array. Okay, so first limitation is arrays are fixed in size. Okay, so once we create an array with some size, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size of an array as per our requirement. So this is the first limitation. The second limitation is that array can hold only homogeneous data elements. It means we can store only similar type of data elements in an array. It's not possible to store different types of objects or elements in an array. Okay, so second limitation of array is that arrays can hold only homogeneous data elements. Okay, for example, let me demonstrate this point. Let me quickly create a class called student, and let me create one more class called book. Okay, now what I will do, I will create array of students. Okay, students equals to new student. Okay, and I will declare a size of an array of students like 10. So remember, arrays are objects in Java, and we can use new keyword to create an object of an array. Okay, so this is how we create an array in Java. Now I want to store an element in this array. So what I need to do is I need to add an element to 0th index of an array, something like this, new student. Okay, and also I can add another student at index 1 of this array. And if I try to add a different type of object like book, so this must give a compile time error, that is type mismatch error. Okay, cannot convert from book to student, because arrays can hold only homogeneous data elements. It means it can hold only similar type of elements. We cannot store different type of elements in an array. Okay, understood? So this is the limitation of an array. Okay, and in array we have a solution for this limitation. So we can use array of objects to store different types of elements. For example, we have object class, right? So object class is a super class of all the classes, so it can hold different type of objects. Well, let me create object of an array like this, objects equals to new and then object, and declare a size like this. Okay, so if you try to add different type of objects to an array of objects, it is possible. Let me quickly do that. Okay, so look at here, I have created array of objects and I have added student object to an array, that is objects at index 0, and I have added one more student object at index 1, and different object like book is added to index 2 of an array. Alright guys, we can add a different type of objects to an array of objects like this. Okay, so this solves the limitation of an array that holds only homogeneous data elements. Now let's understand the one more important limitations of an array, that is array concept is not implemented using any standard data structures. Hence, array does not provide any ready-made APIs or methods as per our requirement. So whenever we want to write some logic to implement algorithm or data structure, we have to explicitly write the code in arrays. Okay, there is no ready-made APIs are available to to write the logic for algorithms or data structures in array. Okay, so this is one more limitation of an array. Okay, so ready-made support is not available in array. Okay, great. This is the third limitation, right? Yeah, so these are the three major limitations of an array, and overcome to these limitations we have a collections framework. Okay, so collections framework are introduced in JDK 1.2 release, and collection framework solves all the limitations of an array. Hence we need a collection framework. Understood? Why do we need a collection framework? So overcome to the limitations of an array, we need a collections framework to solve all the limitations of an array. Okay, so arrays are fixed in size, arrays can hold only homogeneous data elements, and arrays do not provide a ready-made APIs to work with data structures or algorithms. Okay, and collections are growable in nature. So for example, array list. So array list, it internally uses dynamic array, so it can increase or decrease the size as per our requirement. So this way array list can solve the problem. Okay, and we can store different types of objects in collections. For example, we can store a string or integer. Okay, we can store both homogeneous and heterogeneous data elements in a collections. And yeah, so collections framework is implemented using standard data structures. All right, and there are a lot of ready-made APIs are available, so we no need to write explicitly any APIs or methods to work with data structures or algorithms in collections framework. So in this way we can reduce a lot of programming effort by using collections framework. Okay, so all these limitations are solved by collections framework, which is introduced in JDK 1.2 release. Okay, great. Alright guys, I hope you understood the need of collections framework. Well, in next video we'll deep dive into the collections framework. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in next one.